Hey good brothers and good sisters, welcome to another Patreon exclusive. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the beautiful Star Trek The Next Generation Enterprise D ship by Diamond Select to celebrate the return of Sir Patrick Stewart. This gentleman right here, amazing actor, returning to the Star Trek franchise, just recently announced that he will be coming back to do a new Star Trek show as Captain Jean-Luc Picard. So I thought I would do a couple of videos to commemorate the occasion. I love Star Trek The Next Generation. Burned through the entire Blu-ray set with my wife in less than a year. Really loved watching that old show. Nice and cleaned up, high definition. And I picked up one of these not too long after I got that Blu-ray set. Always wanted to get one of these beautiful Enterprise D ships. So it comes with a window box. One of the interesting things I'll mention right off the bat is this looks washed out. This picture of Captain Picard. First time I saw it, I thought it was sun damage from the item sitting in a window for too long. But as far as I can tell, they all look like that. It does kind of look washed out though. I guess they were going for a blue effect, space effect, but I think they should have just stuck with the regular pinkish hue of our beloved captain with the red shirt. And the box does feature a window so that you can see the actual product. If you want to keep it mint in box, I guess you could and still sort of enjoy the ship. It is electronic. It has some really cool electronic features on it. And so for the people who want to try it out before they buy it or don't want to open it at all, you are still able to actually use the electronics just by pushing the button here.
Open a hailing frequency. This is Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
And you get a number of different phrases from the show. It is a little tricky sometimes. There's a certain end to it.
Energize.
You have to touch it at the front of it, not the back of it, even though the back is where it lights up. Generally, you have to
Scan for life forms.
touch it at the front. Alright, so let's open this beauty up. This is not an unboxing. I've already opened this up before, but I just wanted to show you what the box looked like and what it looked like in the box. It comes in a very sturdy plastic packaging, and I like the little things when it comes to toys and models and pop culture things and whatnot. But I like that there's this little piece of foam taped here for extra support, because this is not a toy. It can't take as good a whack as some, maybe the Playmates Star Trek toys could. It's a little more fragile than that, so it's packed securely in this plastic, and I like that they went to the effort of making sure it's extra secure in there. So it does come with a stand, but before I attach that, I just wanted to show you the detaching feature of the saucer. So they didn't use this very often in the show. It was in the first episode, and I believe the movie, when they eject from it, when they escape it in Star Trek Generations, and the ship is destroyed. I don't know if they ever used it again during the entire show's run. They might have. I'm not one of those guys who's got Star Trek memorized. But you can actually detach the bottom part from the saucer part. And to do that, it's magnetized. Thank goodness for that. It does have these little pegs here just to hold in to these areas right here. But you get a sound effect when you attach it. But I am really loving things that attach securely with magnets. I reviewed that Darth Vader helmet a while ago, and it attaches very securely with magnets, and you get a cool sound when you attach it. So this is very similar. When you attach this part to the saucer, you get cool lights and sounds. So even though it's not really intended to be a toy, it still feels like a toy. It's still fun. It's got that oomph, that impact when you attach it, and then instead of your imagination having to do the sound effects yourself, it does it for you. The stands are nice and easy to install. You can see that this is a half circle on the end. and that corresponds with the same type of shape. It's hard to see, not enough light in there, but it's the same type of shape in there. So when you plug it in, if you don't have it in the right way, it just simply won't go in all the way. But if you twist it, you can feel where that half circle will fit into the half circle in the hole. So because this is such a big, long, heavy ship like the real Enterprise D, you're going to need 2 stands for it. So you'll take the other one, wiggle it in, and my stand might be a little small to hold both of these, but just a little bit of tweaking and a little bit of futzing required, but you get a really beautiful display piece of the Star Trek Enterprise D. When I was younger, I was a fan of doing models, especially since back in the 90s, you couldn't go out and just get anything from any movie, any show. Right now there are tons of licensors doing tons of different licensing, all sorts of merchandise from Knight Rider, A-Team, all of the old Star Wars, obviously. All the old properties are getting, sometimes several different companies are doing merchandise for them, but back in the 90s, a lot of the time if you wanted something like a Star Trek ship or Star Wars ship, or even some of those cars from those great old TV shows like Magnum P.I. or Knight Rider, Dukes of Hazzard, Hardcastle and McCormick, you had to buy the model and glue it and put it together. So I've got a few of those old Star Wars models. I always wanted to make a model of the Enterprise, but it just seemed too daunting to me. Too many paint applications, too complicated, too much work. And so this is why I love things that Diamond Select puts out, because to me, they're not toys, they're finished models. There is incredible detail, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit here to show off some of the detail in this beautiful ship here. We've got all of these little window paint applications, both black and yellow. The lettering is very nice and crisp, and all sorts of other details too, such as we've got more paint applications here on the engines, fine font on the side there. Really did an amazing job. It blows me away that this is a mass-produced item, because there's so much detail here. I mean, there was a lot of detail in a lot of the toys we grew up in the 80s, but this is very model-like, and it's very precise too. So we're just going to shut off the spinning part right here and show you some of that fine detail we have here. Absolutely stunning. Love it. I just look at this, and in addition to appreciating all of the paint applications, I also think, wow, saved me so much time. This would have taken me so much time to add all of this detail. Look at all of this. There's a little bit of a wash, like a dark wash here. It's hard to pick up on camera, but in person you can see. Because they're the engines, right? So they would have a little bit of whatever it's called. Again, I love Star Trek. I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan, but jet wash or whatever you call it. And to save the best for last, the electronic feature, which again, I wouldn't even know where to begin in a model to add the electronic lights and sounds that some people do to their models. But several different phrases and sound effects from the show, just by pushing this top part right here.
Open a hailing frequency. This is Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
And when you hear those lights and sounds, the engines also light up as well, and you get a little light on the top here.
Energize.
So to give you a better look at what this looks like, I'm going to shut off one of these lights.
Scan for life forms.
And that is really stunning.
Shields up, red alert.
It's really beautiful in a darkly lit room. stunning.
Make it so.
Some of them are very short, some of them are long. But I especially love the ones that have something to do with the engines, the engine sound effects, the warp sound effect.
Earl Grey hot.
Tea Earl Grey hot, that's a great idea. I think I'll grab one after this video is done.
Special pattern, Sierra, and fire.
And there are a lot of different sound clips for this thing.
Transferring command to the battle bridge.
Transferring commands to the battle bridge. And if we hold it down,
Open a hailing frequency. This is Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Energize. Scan for life forms. Shields up, red
it
alert.
plays them all.
Make it so. Tea Earl Grey hot. Special pattern, Sierra, and fire. Transferring command to the battle bridge.
So, by holding that button down,
Fire all phases.
and we're gonna press this again to shut them up.
Open a hailing frequency. This is Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
There we go. So, very similar to the Diamond Select Kit Knight Rider, which I reviewed in one of the 80s Toy Museum virtual tours. When you hold the button down on that kit, the front scanner just keeps going back and forth. And so it's similar with this as well. If you kind of get tired of pressing the button over and over again, and you want it to just play by itself, be in some sort of a loop mode, it's cool that they included that feature where you just hold the button down and you can let it go until, well, it drives you crazy. That's usually what ends up happening with that feature. It's interesting. It's a feature I love, being able to let the toy just go through all of its sound effects and light effects all by itself. But usually every time I use it, I just get sick of it after a minute. Like, shut up already. So, cool feature nonetheless, and really, really nice job. I can't stress enough how beautiful that this ship is. Very fitting, worthy of the Star Trek Enterprise D. And for a quick size comparison, I don't have a lot of Star Trek merchandise, but I do have the Kirk ship from the original series. So the Enterprise D is actually just a tiny bit bigger. Tiny bit bigger. So they're not in scale with each other, but it's nice that the Enterprise D is still a little bit bigger than the original Kirk ship. And the last comparison is with the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy. This is the original Star Wars Millennium Falcon model from the 90s. This is one of the models that I made in my teens, and they're about the same size. And one more feature I just discovered while I was putting this away. My finger accidentally pressed down here, and look at that. That is awesome. I was hoping that that feature was available where you can just turn on the engine. So we kill one of the lights here, and as long as that is pressed in, it actually presses in and clicks or releases. Now you can have it lit up almost like a little lamp, and it probably wouldn't be that hard to install, instead of batteries that'll run out on you, an actual power source. But now you can just have it sitting on your shelf and lit up, looking very pretty. Make it a little dimmer in here. That's really, really cool. I just love vehicles that light up, like when Ecto-1 has lights on it, lights and sounds. Star Trek ships, they have such an ambiance to them, and a lot of that is the warp engines. It's just, Star Trek was always the intelligent show, the mature show, and the calming, peaceful show. And I think a lot of that had to do with that constant ambient noise those constant engines in the background of the episodes. So I think that's really awesome feature to include. Just have the lights going on while the ship sails where no man, where no one has gone before. Alright, that is the Diamond Select Star Trek Enterprise D ship.
Energize.
And this beauty is definitely energized. Very excited to hear that Patrick Stewart is coming back to Star Trek. Hoping for the best. Might be expecting the worst though. So I'm going to have a video to accompany this video about my top 5 ideas for the new Jean-Luc Picard show. Some of them serious, some of them silly because, well, a lot of the time when they bring back an old franchise or bring back an old character, as cool as we want it to be, it ends up being kind of silly, so why not have a little bit of fun with it. So, once again, thanks so much for supporting the channel. Hope you enjoyed this Patreon exclusive, and until next time, friends, Nerdmaste.